Hello and welcome back. Today's guest is me. I'm just doing another life update episode for everyone and covering some key things that have been happening in my life recently and some things which I think would be really good to share because this podcast is all about personal growth. And I think this has definitely been the most profound year for growth in my life. And these 2 months that have just gone since my last solo episode included. So without further ado, the first thing that I wanted to update everyone on is because of my last announcement. I said I was going to Portugal. That fell through. One of the things with this social media thing that I'm doing is it's not appealing to a lot of people in my industry. Social media is seen as something that's not so serious, something that is almost silly. And when you're a private wealth manager and you're managing millions of pounds of clients' money, they expect you to be the most serious person ever, right? So you're always seen in the suit and everything else. So I had a bit of a tough time finding a company that would fit with to move to while still doing this podcast and still working on the social media thing with Juria as well. Because for me, it was really important that I felt like my own boss. I didn't want to be feeling like I was being told what to do. Or what I could and couldn't do outside of work. So what that's meant is I have more or less started up on my own. I'm working for a network of advisors. So I have licenses and I'm regulated and I have a compliance team that's helping me with things. But ultimately, it's just me that's going to be bringing in business and doing business for myself as well. So it's definitely been a big step. And it was one I always thought I would make in my career at some point. It came around a little bit sooner than I expected, purely because I wasn't finding the right fit in another company elsewhere. So that's where we are with that one. And it's definitely been a hard and stressful journey to get to where we are. And it took a lot longer than expected because there was two different avenues that I thought I was going down, which then fell through. So I had all my clients waiting for me all this time as well. And, I might have lost a couple of clients by leaving them the old place for too long, but it's part of business and I'll just start again and onwards and upwards from here. I think at least with this move, there's not going to be any ceiling. There's not going to be anything that is an obstacle in the future. So I'm pretty optimistic about that one. So location wise, what does that mean? It means that I don't have an office. It means that I can work from wherever I am in the world. And that's exactly what I intend to do. I don't ever feel like myself when I'm in the UK. I didn't have the best time growing up here, and being back always reminds me of that. I see people that the only version of me that they will remember is a person that I'm not proud of, and people that I've had bad experiences with for that reason. And just generally, negative connotations from the tough adolescence that I had here. My life has been a lot better. I've found a lot more people that I fit in with. And I've had much better experiences when I've been traveling and experiencing other parts of the world. So that's the modus operandi as always. And I'm now going to be moving to Bali. So I'm going to be heading out there in December. And it's not necessarily a permanent move. I'm just going to see what's happening in Bali. And I'll still be making regular trips back to Malaysia to see some clients that I've got there. But yeah, I'm excited to get out there. I have always loved Bali. And I'm hoping that I'll find lots of interesting guests for the podcast out there as well as obviously some new potential clients as well. So that is update there. Where have we been for the last few months? It's been rough, and I don't want to put this out there as some like sob story or feeling sorry for myself, because that's not where I am right now. Like right now I'm positive. I'm excited for the future. Like I have no doubt that everything is going to work out well. So I'm not worried. But yeah, it's just been a real turbulent few months and I've struggled. And part of me struggling, like I haven't really wanted to put out there, because again, working in private wealth, your clients don't want to hear that you're having a hard time, right? Like, oh, if I see on social media that my financial advisor is miserable and moping around at his mum's place, they're not going to feel comfortable with the money. But again, I'm sticking with this. The kind of people that I want to bring on as clients are people that become good friends and appreciate the honesty, because everyone goes through things like this. No one is happy all the time. No one is 100% mentally all the time. And I think, and I hope that just being genuine and showing the full picture it'll ring true to the right kind of clients that I want to work with long term. And I have some incredible ones that I consider really good friends already, which this works for. Although one of my clients did the other day message me saying that she watched my episode with Jonathan Asley and she felt like it was massively oversharing. So it made her a little bit uncomfortable. So it's definitely something to be mindful of. And yeah, if I'm scaring off all my clients by doing things like this, then maybe I need to reevaluate. But we're still here for now. So why has it been tough? I've really learned some things in the last couple of months about myself. I have always thought of myself as a hard worker, like someone that works really hard, and working really hard to me is working a lot more than 8 hours a day, because 8 hours a day is the standard. And I was able to do that. When I was in my last job, I would go to my job, I'd go to the gym before work, then I'd go to work for 8 or 9 hours, and then I would go home and also put in some work towards some of my side hustles. And I had no problem with doing it. So when I quit my job, I thought that I would then have all this free time to put into my own projects, and I'd be able to go 100 miles an hour. I'd be able to work 12 hours a day on just what I wanted to do, and it would soar. And it didn't happen like that. I've struggled with my self-discipline quite a lot since I've quit. And the reason for that is the lack of regimentation, the lack of routine, the not needing to get out of bed at a certain time. I mean, I'm still not awful with it. I'm still up by 7 a.m. every day, but that's pushed back from my standards, and it's got back. My gym routine is now when I can fit the gym in rather than first thing in the morning, and forcing myself to sit there and just work constantly. It's difficult, and it's something that I have struggled with. And I'm stuck in this constant dilemma between, you're not working hard enough, work harder, stop making excuses, no one cares, just get it done. And then recently, this other school of thought of being kinder to yourself. And I haven't figured this out, by the way. I have not come up with a full conclusion on this one. I don't know if I ever will. But it's interesting where it's been. I've always been incredibly hard on myself. And I posted something on Instagram when I was going to Portugal, just a life update for people, and apologizing for the delay in getting my financial course ready and out there. And I didn't even think I was particularly self-critical in the wording that I used when I was just giving people an update. I was just like, yeah, look, I'm sorry, I've missed a few deadlines. I'll sort it out. And I had hundreds of messages of people telling me to stop being so hard on myself, to be kinder to myself, and to look after myself. And honestly, it felt like platitudes. I read them all and I was like, oh, it's just people online just saying nice things. It doesn't actually mean anything. I don't need to be kinder to myself. I need to work harder. And Juria is always telling me I need to be kinder to myself. A couple of my other friends are always telling me that I need to be kinder to myself. And it never registered. Like I heard the words, but they had no meaning in my head, if that makes any sense. It was, yeah, it just never actually sunk into me, or something I thought that had any value or weight behind it. And then I was watching a documentary with my mum and stepdad about 3 weeks ago. And this documentary is called The Turnaround. Now, if anyone hasn't seen it, I'm about to drop some spoilers. It's a documentary based on a true story, and it brought me to tears. It's directed by Barack and Michelle Obama, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure that's right. I hope I'm not misquoting that. But yeah, it stars a guy whose name I forget, but I'm just going to call him Craig for the sake of fluent storytelling. But Craig comes on screen and he's fat, out of shape, bit of a mess. His life looks like a bit of a mess, 50 odd years old. And he's showing clips of him cheering his team on and also shouting abuse at them when they're doing badly. And he can shout some pretty horrendous abuse. And I was thinking, what what is this guy doing on my screen? Seemed a bit weird and out of place. And immediately I judged him. I immediately was like, don't think much of this guy, which is another lesson for me from this, right? And it then cuts around to the Phillies. They sign a guy called Trey Turner for $300 million, which is the biggest deal in baseball at that time. And he was supposed to be the thing that would lead them on to victory. And he had a tough time. When he started, he was missing every bat. He was dropping the catches. He was just generally the worst player on the team. And the fans turned on him. They were saying it was the biggest scam, waste of money. They wanted their money back, send him home, get rid of him. Yeah. And he just carried on, just playing horrendously. We go back to Craig, and Craig says that he was going to kill himself. He said there was one day he was like, I'm going to kill myself today. So he tried to book himself in with a therapist. And the only one he could find that was available for a last minute booking was the other side of the town. And he couldn't even afford the gas to get there, but he drove anyway. And as he got there, he got a text from them saying they were really sorry they had to cancel and they couldn't see him. And he sat in the car park just thinking, I'm going to drive my car through their fucking wall. That will show them. And he sat there thinking about killing himself. He decided not to in the end. And the profound bit that happens next, he then posts something online which went viral and sparked this whole story coming to life. He posted a video saying, hey guys, when Trey Turner comes out to bat tonight, let's stop showing him hate. Let's stop booing him. Let's show him some love. When he comes out tonight, let's give him a standing ovation. And this video was liked, commented, shared, and it went viral in the space of the day before the game happened. The commentators were talking about it. The news reporters were talking about it, with all of these people sharing this thing. So sure enough, Trey Turner comes out to bat. And as he comes out to bat, everyone stands up and gives him a standing ovation and starts cheering him on, even though he's done nothing good all season. They're shouting, I love you, Trey. We love you, Trey, holding up banners saying, Trey, we're here for you. We support you. And he misses his first swing again. I'm thinking, oh, this isn't looking good. But second swing, he connects. And from then on, it's the turnaround. From then on, he turns around. He's back into the player that he used to be. The fans are loving him. They're cheering him on and supporting him. And at the end of the game, he's in tears walking around and thanking people for the support. And yeah, getting a bit emotional thinking about it now. But the reason it resonated with me so much, and at the time I was bawling, like I haven't cried like that in quite a while, and I don't give a shit about baseball. It was all of those messages that I'd received telling me to be kinder to myself, to be nicer to myself, look after myself. I just realized in that moment that they weren't platitudes. I realized in that moment that people could tell just from the way that I spoke about something that had happened that I wasn't kind to myself, and I wasn't. Like one of my closest friends had been telling me that I was way too harsh on myself and I need to be nicer. And I was laughing. I was like, you've not seen anything. And I showed her my alarm clock, and I'd set alarms for myself, like, get up now, you asshole, go and do that. You wasted, just things like that. And I thought it was funny. I was like, yeah, look, that's just how I speak to myself. And I realized that, especially since I've been struggling with the lack of routine and the regimen, and because of that, my productivity had dipped. I had got way worse and I wasn't happy. I was incredibly hard on myself. And yeah, it just all boiled over watching this. And so since then, I've been trying to be a lot more mindful about being kinder to myself, about being better to myself and more patient, because I wouldn't work for a boss like I am to myself. If someone else spoke to me the way that I spoke to myself, I would probably kill them. So why would I expect myself to be happy and want to work in those conditions? Was it any surprise that my natural instinct was just to sack everything off and just hide away in escapism and distracting myself with childhood games and things like that? So yeah, that was where I was, and I made a conscious effort to be kinder to myself. I had a really profound couple of days where I was focusing on how I was speaking to myself. And I'm still trying to find that balance. This wasn't some epiphany that has changed my life forever and now everything's perfect, because I still need to sort that discipline, that motivation, that the working the way that I would be proud to be working. I've still got to get that sorted, but I'm trying to do it now from a place of compassion rather than a place of whipping myself. So yeah, that's where we are. It's still a work in progress, and I wanted to share that with people because to me it felt crazy that so many people were saying this to me and it just didn't register, like it didn't fit into my head. And I hope that there are some people listening to this that may feel the same. Like if people have been telling you to be kinder to yourself and you haven't actually listened to those words, it's not a platitude. You have to live with yourself. You have to live in your head. And when you're not being nice to yourself, it can almost feel like you're not being nice to someone else. Like it doesn't actually hurt that much in that moment, but that hurt builds up and then you sit with it and you live with it. So yeah, focus on it. Show yourself some compassion. Show yourself some support. Even if you are a hard worker, even if you are super productive, it's not always going to be able to be 100% all the time. There are going to be times when you underperform your own expectations. And that has been somewhere where I've been recently. But yeah, I'm not letting myself off the hook. I'm just being kinder to myself and I'm going to help myself get there. But yeah, it's a positive thing. So I really don't want loads of replies to this being like, oh, Tom, hope you're okay. Like, I'm good. Really, I'm good. I'm I'm feeling really positive about the future. I'm working with some amazing people on some amazing things. I've got awesome people that are here listening to this podcast like you. And I am excited. I'm positive for the future. I'm happy. I'm in a good place supporting myself. And it has been a rough couple of months, but yeah, I'm back. Going back to business. So yeah, that's that side of things. Last thing I wanted to comment on, which was sort of adding to it, but again, I think could be interesting for some other people to hear because I obviously like to keep in shape. It's very important to me. And I spoke with my friend Dale when he was on the podcast about body dysmorphia and constantly comparing yourself to other people or what you were like before. And I definitely struggle with that. It's not something I'm unaware of, and it's definitely something that needs work on. Again, ties in with that being kinder to yourself. But I've had a pretty rough time of that over the last 2 months as well. I tore my pec about 4 weeks ago, which means that I can't do half of the things that I was doing in the gym. I have been ill pretty much non-stop since I've been back in the UK. I've had one bout of a cold, one bout of flu, and one bout of tonsillitis all in the space of a month. I think my immune system was just accustomed to the tropical viruses of Malaysia, and coming back here to the common colds and that of the world, they kicked my ass because my body had forgotten how to handle them. So my training has definitely dipped. I've also been staying at my mum's place, who is the most incredible baker on the planet. And I love her and hate her for it at the same time. She leaves like brownies, cakes, everything on the side. There's not like they're even in drawers or cupboards. They're literally viewable there. And I've probably been eating, I don't know, I don't even want to, like probably 3, 4 baked goods a day on average over the last month. So combine that with everything else, I've been looking in the mirror and not been particularly happy with what's going on there. But again, it's one of those things that I know that I'll turn it around. I'm not giving up on myself or being fit and thinking, oh, that's it. I'm thinking, okay, you can enjoy your mum's baked goods whilst they're here. And when you get on the road again, you're going to sort your shit out. And I think that's where I am. So once I'm out of mum's door, bar the bag of goodies she inevitably packs me up with at that point, I'm then going to get back on the diet and fitness. And hopefully, I think it's been about 3, 4 weeks since I did my pec. I'm hoping after another 3, 4 weeks that I can get back into training and trying to build that up again. Because yeah, I hate feeling like I'm going backwards. And that's been hard. I've been going to the gym to try and just keep ticking over, right? And do what I can do. But every time I've been going back because I've not been able to push myself, because I've not been able to work hard, like every time I'm going, I'm feeling weaker. And dragging yourself to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, even when you're seeing progress and everything's going well, can be quite difficult. When every time you're going, you're getting a proverbial kick in the gut because you're worse, you're weaker than you were before, you're more out of shape than you were before. It takes a whole new level of self-discipline to keep yourself going. But for me, I know that if I did just think, okay, pec's torn, I'll just sit on the couch for 2 months, my life would be a lot worse and it would be a lot harder to get back to where I want to be. So it's just about treading water while I have to tread water. And I might not be making progress right now, but just keep making the right decisions and heading in the right direction. So yeah, if you're out with an injury at the moment, or if you're ill and you're struggling in the gym, just keep going, keep treading water, because the longer you take out, the harder it is to get back into it. I've had periods where I've not trained for 6 months, and that first session back in the gym is the worst thing. And it's not just getting in there, it's the months of self-flagellating before you go, telling yourself you need to go, you need to go, and then you actually get in there and you're so much weaker than you used to be, and everything sucks. At least if you just keep things ticking over, it's going to be a lot easier to get back into it when you're fully fit and ready to do it. And it's damage control. You're not going to end up completely losing everything that you had before. Touch wood, because yeah, I do miss training, feeling fit, feeling strong. So yeah, that's my last couple of months' life in a nutshell. I'm heading up to Newcastle to see some of my old friends next week. Then I'm flying out to Thailand for a week to catch up with a couple of friends there. Then out to Bali, where I'm planning to set some roots with some really cool people that I'm planning on staying with out there, which I'm really looking forward to. So yeah, thanks for listening to my TED Talk. I hope that there's some positive bits of inspiration on there. Please don't message me like, oh, you okay? Like, I'm good. And I don't deal well with those kind of messages. Not that I don't appreciate them. It just makes me awkward. But yeah, I do appreciate everyone that cares. It's all positive. Show yourself some love. And thanks again for listening. I'll see you later on.